Hello boys, hope you're all doing well, hope we're good. In this one, I am going to basically teach you how to pretty much eliminate any bad habit that you may have. Alright? After this video, you should have the knowledge necessary to pretty much eliminate any kind of bad habit you've got, whether it's like, smoking weed, porn addiction, anything like that, right? I know porn addiction is quite a big one because a lot of young men kind of have that, and well, even fully grown men, like, in their 30s still have that issue. That's a big problem, right? And that's one I'm going to use that as a bit of an example in this one because it's a big issue that I may as well address, right? And I may as well use to explain my points, all right? Now, it's such a simple process, but not an easy one, all right? Because it's simply about the way you kind of perceive this in your head. Because think about this, all right? Let's say you acknowledge, let's use porn addiction, right? Let's say you acknowledge that is a addiction that you've got, or you acknowledge that is a habit that you've got. Now it's in your head that it's a habit, all right? And what are you trying to do when you're attempting to eliminate something, when you're attempting to discard something, all right? Get rid of it, almost, push it away. What are you doing to it? You're resisting it, all right? You're resisting that thing. You're resisting fucking, you sat there at 3 a.m. and you're resisting going on fucking Pornhub like a little spurg. You're resisting going out and fucking smoking weed or whatever it is, with your friends. You're resisting it. You're pushing it off. You're pushing it back. You're putting it off almost, all right? Now, so what does that resistance do? The problem with this, right? The problem with resisting something and pushing something away is that it's only a temporary fix, all right? Because the more you resist something, all right, it's still going to be there, okay? That thing is still in your head. You've still got it in your head that it's there and it's still an addiction. It's still a habit. Because if you're having to push it off, if you're having to put it off and push it away and resist it, it's still an addiction. It's still a habit. It's still a thing that's in your life. So by doing that, you'll never eliminate it. When you're going on like semen retention, you never, let's say you're on like a 30-day streak. All you're really doing is trying to count up as many days as you possibly can until you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've hit this day, I've hit this milestone or whatever, and I'm just going to relapse, you know what I mean? That's what it'll do, all right? It just puts that in your brain. As soon as you put something in your head, as soon as you put a perception or concept in your head, you can't get rid of it, bro. That's why setting milestones when it comes to something as serious as porn addiction is such a bad thing to do, bro. It's like the worst thing you can do because you're just going to get to a point. Let's say you want to go 30 days or something. You're going to get to that 30th day and you're like, boom, I've hit my goal. Now I can relapse and I'll start a new goal. It's like, it's bullshit, bro. It's just putting bullshit, like, stuff in your head. You need to eliminate it. By eliminate it completely, what I'm going to say is a little bit controversial, but it's something that helps. It's something that's helped me quit any bad habit I've ever had in the past, all right? Anything, okay? The way you do it is by simply not quitting, all right? What do I mean by this? What do I mean by not quitting, all right? I'm going to explain it. As I've said before, when you resist something, it's still there, okay? When you're resisting something, it's pushing back at you. It's still trying to come at you and you're resisting it away, all right? If you don't resist something, if you don't try and push something away, it can't possibly be there. It's just, if you let something be just a conscious decision in your brain, you let yourself have the freedom of decision to whether you're going to do this thing or not, it doesn't become such a big thing because you're not resisting it and it's not there in your brain all the time. You're not always like, oh, I need to get to this day, I need to do this, I need to go this long without doing this thing. If you just give yourself the freedom of just letting yourself do it, all right, and then you realise how shit it actually is after, you're like, well, that wasn't even good, you watched porn and you fucking wanked yourself off, it was just shit. You're like, oh, now I just feel like wank. You smoked a spliff, you get a temporary fucking high, and then you get the worst come down ever, all right? You understand that if you give yourself the freedom of choice to do those things, but actually realise that the effects of doing it are actually just not that good, all right? You don't even really enjoy it. That's going to then make you realise, right, I've got the freedom of choice. I'm just going to choose not to do it next time. All right? It's as simple as that, bro. You don't have to go through this whole period of having to, like, resist it and put it off for a certain amount of days. And then that's like a big milestone and you feel like you've achieved it. But really, you haven't even eliminated anything. You've not really made any progress because all you've done is hit a temporary milestone. And you're just going to go back to it anyway. And you're still addicted to it, all right? You've still got it in your brain that you want to do it. Give yourself the freedom of choice to do it. When you actually, if you make the decision to do it, all right, to do the bad habit, whatever it is, whether it's watch porn, whether it's fucking smoke weed, whatever it is, fucking do it, bro. I'm not even joking. Just do it. Because then what will happen is then you'll do it and you'll realise how shit it is afterwards. You'll realise it's not even that good. giving yourself that freedom of choice, all right? Because then you're not resisting it, you're not putting it off, it's not coming back you, it's not coming back at you. The more you resist something, the more likely it is that you're just going to do it, all right? If you give yourself the freedom to be able to do it, then it's not a thing. It's not a thing of, oh, I have to, it's not a thing of like, oh, I have to not do it. It's just a thing of, I don't do it. You just don't do it. Give yourself the freedom of choice. You'll get to a point eventually where you just don't even, you're not even arsed anymore. You're not having to try to reach this landmark, this fucking milestone where you're like, yeah, I've hit this certain day, or I've done, I've gone this long. You don't have to necessarily think about that anymore, because it's not a thing in your head. You're just like, whatever this bad habit is, you've given yourself that freedom of choice to just be able to do it, all right? You're not resisting it. You're not putting it off. You're letting yourself do it. And when you've done it, you realize it's shit. You go so long, you keep giving yourself this freedom of choice to be able to do this thing. Never resist it. Never put it off. Never set any milestones. Just do it, all right? And then you go through this period of time where you realize, actually, the effects of it are shit. I don't even like it. I don't even like doing it. I don't like the feeling after when you're all like, you sat there in your bed with like covered in your own fucking nut, and you're all like lethargic and fatigued, and you're like, fuck's sake, this is just like, you know what I mean? It's a shit feeling, and you don't want to do it. All right, man? So don't make it a thing in your head. Don't identify it as an addiction or as a habit, as something that you have to get rid of. Just identify yourself as something that doesn't even have it in the first place, all right? Because you need to have this belief that you are the guy. You have to. It's almost like a predetermined thing where you need to have that belief in your mind that you already are who you want to be. Okay, that's so important. So you've got that in your brain. It's not, you identify that it's not an addiction. It's not a habit that you've got, right? You just don't do it at all. You give yourself the freedom of choice to do it, right, and to not do it. You make that decision yourself, okay? And eventually you'll just get to that point where, because you're not resisting it, because you're not putting it off, you don't feel the need to have to do it. You don't feel, you don't have to feel the need to get to a certain day and then do it, all right? You just don't do it, all right? You could go easily, you could go like 3 months without doing this bad habit. I guarantee it, bro. If you give yourself the freedom of choice, you look at it so much differently. Whereas if you say to yourself, right, I've got to try and put it off for 3 months, right? I'm gonna set myself a 3-month target. You then day by day you're gonna be like, right, I've done this day, and you're gonna keep thinking about it. It's gonna be a thing in your head. It's gonna be constantly on your mind, and then you're gonna get these urges and these like needs to almost try and do it, all right? Because you're resisting this thing. The more you resist something, the more it's just gonna come back at you and bite you in the arse later. I promise you, bro. If you can just completely detach yourself from this idea of it being an addiction or a habit, and give yourself the freedom of choice to do it anyway, and then you realize how shit it is, I promise you, bro, that is the quickest way to eliminate any addiction. It's the quickest way I've ever eliminated any kind of bad habit or anything that I've ever done in my life, all right? It's so simple, right? It's not an easy process to get your head around. It's not an easy process to do, but I promise you, bro, it works, all right? I don't want any of you lot to be sat there, because the thing is with habits and stuff, they completely halt your progress with anything. Like, oh shit, fucking hell. Sorry, boys. Just readjust. Absolutely knocked my table. As I was saying, these bad habits that you've got and these addictions that you've got are really going to halt your progress in anything in life, all right? I don't want you lot to spend your time doing these shitty habits, right? When you could be spending that time going to the gym, working on your business, making money, whatever it is, all right? Because you need that time. That time is so valuable. You're not going to get it back, all right? You're wasting it, wanking yourself off and smoking outside. Bro, it's not going to work. You're not going to achieve what you want to achieve, all right? And you're not going to achieve it as quick as you want to achieve it. So if we can eliminate these things now, all right, and I mean fucking now, then, bro, that's it. Then you'll be on your way, bro. You don't have to think about any of that shit anymore. All right, bro? If you do actually want to work with me one-to-one on a monthly basis, reach out to me on Instagram. I'll book you in for a free consultation call. We'll talk through your goals, what you want to achieve, anything like that. Or if you want to book a one-time coaching call with me, you can use the calendar link down below. It's all in the same link. If you click on it, it'll be in the description, all right? The calendar link is for booking one-time coaching calls, and I'll get in touch with you from there. If you want to go on a monthly mentorship with me, then it's on Instagram. DM me on Instagram. I'll get back to you. I'll get in touch with you. We'll sort everything out from there. All right, bro? From dating, social skills, confidence, again, porn addiction. We go into all this stuff on like very deep levels, all right? So you'll get all the in-depth shit. We'll work with you one-to-one. We'll create personal protocols for you to guarantee that you reach wherever it is that you want to go, bro. All right, man? So I hope that was helpful for you, bro. Stay active, man. Keep going. I'll see you in a bit.